Okay, so we're going to be talking about this while, and probably I will postpone the do while to inshallah next week. But I just would like to give you a small theory about this while and what is it and why is it important, and then some practical exercises so you can practice that as well. Yes. Yes. Yes.
First of all, what do you mean by loops?
Yes, this is what I would like to be talking about. So this, starting from now, I mean, before now, what we were doing, we were always going from the beginning of our program until the end, and we read line by line until we arrive until the last one, the last statement that we execute. And then we added actually some alternatives with the if. If you remember, I can have another path that I can go through, either depending on the question that I'm asking. I can either go right or left, and then this is some other choice. But I kept going down from the top, going to down. Now sometimes I might need to go up and repeat things. I need to repeat some of the things a couple of times before stopping. And this is what we call the loops, all the repetitive statements. So, and while is one of the repetitive controls that we can use to make some repetitions. What kind of repetitions? Let's say, for example, I would like to read 100 numbers from the user, and then I calculate the average. Well, am I going to copy system.out, enter first number, and then key dot next double, and then same thing, copy. Well, there should be a way where, for example, how you can do that. That means to repeat 10 times or 100 times the specific lines of code. And this is the objective of this lecture. And while is one control that allows us to do that. And this is something that we're going to learn, inshallah, how it works. So let's say you would like to write a number that displays the numbers from 1 to 10. This is another example that shows, I mean, why it is interesting to have these repetitive statements. If I'd like to display number 1, 2, 3 until 10, it's quite, I mean, easy. I can just write down system.out.println. In one line I put 1, 2, 3 until 10. So it's quite obvious. But what happens if I'd like you to write a program that displays the number 1, 2, 3 until 1000? Then it's not as obvious as before. I can just type system.out and print line. Maybe let me just start netbeans so I can explain that while I'm talking. So actually, it will take time if I'd like to type it myself. So there should be a way to deal with that. And this is the idea behind the repetitive statements, and this is why, I mean, we show this example. If I'd like to do something like this, I can just with copy and paste, without having like the idea on how to deal with the repetitive statements. I can just do something and keep copying and pasting until I arrive to the number. But this is not the solution. What if, yes? It's like this is an if, yeah, this is if, but this is just a tentative solution. This is not a solution. This is just something that tries to find a way how to deal with this issue. But this is not the way how to deal with it. But the idea is that what if I can do something like this? I set the number to my first value, my limit, and then I can repeat as long as the number is less than this limit. I'm going to display the number and then increment that number. Remember this plus plus, it just adds 1. It displays the number and then increment the number and then put a space and then keep repeating this until as long as the number is less or equal to the limit. And when it's done, I just displays okay the end, for example. Yeah.
So the actual command is repeat.
No. This is my wish. I'm going to show you the command that will allow to do that. But just to know, just to organize my mind in order to be able to understand that I would like something to say, repeat from while this condition is true, keep repeating until this condition is false. Yes? Yeah, I'm coming to that. First of all, you notice that this is a question. I'm asking, is number less or equal than limit? And if you'd like to make sure that does this make sense, let's just try to follow. This is our number, and this is our limit. In number we put 1, and limit we put 10. And I'm asking the question, is number less or equal than limit? Your answer is yes. When it's yes, okay, I'll get inside. And then I'm going to, first of all, there are two things here, two operations in one line. I'm displaying the number, and then I'm incrementing the number, and increasing the number by 1. Which one is going to be done first? Display the number, and then increment, or increment, and then display? Remember, there's this distinction between number plus plus or plus plus number. There's a difference between those two, right? Remember? We've seen that long time ago. You remember, right? Your eyes tells me no, you don't. Probably you remember this. We've seen something, but you don't remember, I mean, which one comes first. Well, if the plus plus comes first, we start with the increment. If the plus plus is last after the name of the variable, like here, we increment after. So that means in here, in this case, I'm displaying 1 on the screen, and then I'm incrementing 1 that becomes now 2, and then I go up again and ask, is the number less or equal than limit? Yes. Display the number, and then increment the number, and then keep doing this. I can see I'm going to do that until my number becomes 10. When is 10 less or equal than 10? Yes or no?
Yeah.
Yes. So I get inside again, and then I will display 10, make it 11, and then is 11 less than or equal to 10? No, so I'll stop. And then I display the end, for example. Because the plus plus was after the name of the variable number. If the name number was, the plus plus was before, well, we're going to test it anyways. You got my point? Yes?
You mean by increment is increasing?
Increase by 1. Alright? So what is this syntax that I can use in Java? I cannot use this repeat as long as, but there's something very similar to that. And let's have a look at, well, it doesn't seem to be that soon. Well, let me show it to you before I go to the next thing. Okay, well, let me clear this. In Java, how to do this is very easy. Instead of having this repeat as long as, all this is replaced with while. Well, this is one way to do it, but there's other ways. While, and I'm asking a question, like the if, and then I ask a question, it's while, and then I ask a question, and then I open the brace, and I execute this, and I close the brace. That's it. This is going to be repeating as long as this is true. I'm going to be repeating. When this is going to be false, I stop and get out. Actually, there's more than one way to do these repetitions. While is one of them. It's like the standard way to do it. I mean, not standard in all ways, but let's say the simpler way to do it. The others, and these are or loops, and the other type of loops are like this while, do while, and for. I mean, these do while and for are these other types of loops. Something that I'd like to be talking about, the body, like if we had a body with the blocks, remember the blocks? When we open a brace and we close a brace, we named it a block. Like when we say this if, and I ask a question, and then I open the braces, and between those braces we said that this is a block. Well, this is also called the body. Whatever is inside that block is also the body of the while. The condition, or this is the Boolean expression, the condition is the Boolean expression, and each iteration that is means each repetition. If every time we repeat, we count it, we name it this as an iteration. For example, if I ask you a question about my previous example, how many iterations this loop is doing, you have to calculate how many times it repeats. So in this case, 10 times. It repeats when 1, 2, until 10. So 10 times. So this is called the iteration. So this being said, there are three types of loops. Today we're going to focus only on this one, while. Just to understand how to write it, we're going to do some exercises so you can practice how to create those programs that uses loops. And loops are very important because they allow us to repeat things that we don't have to copy and paste a lot of times. Okay, so this is how it works. The same problem with the if without braces, you remember? We can use if without braces in one specific condition. If I cannot always do that. When can I use if without braces? When? Only one line. When I have only one statement inside of the if, I can just not use the braces. Remember, the same thing applies also to the while. If I have only one line inside of my while, I don't need to put the braces. But as usual, I always advise you to always use the braces, even if you have one line. So this is, if you have one statement, you can use this like that, or you have block of statements, many statements, you have to use those braces. Boolean expression, this is the question that I'm asking. And then this is how it works. We ask a question. If the answer to this question is true, we execute something, and then we go back and ask the question again. So this is the first time that we go up. All the times that we've seen before, we always go down. So this is, we go up and ask the question. And this is what makes the loop. We keep repeating. If it's true, we keep repeating. If it's false, we get out, and then we do something else if we find something else to do. So the previous problem, this is how we can use it. This is the example of the code for that previous file, the previous exercise. When we would like to write a code that displays numbers from 1 to 10. So how it works, we put into number 1 and then into limit 10. We ask a question, while this is a question, if is 1 less than 10 or equal to 10? Yes, I get inside. I will display 1, this is my screen, I will see 1. This becomes 2. And then I go up and ask, is 2 less or equal to limit? I always go up. That's why when it's 10, did you realize that when it was 10, I'm asking, is 10 less than or equal to 10? Yes, I get inside, display 10, and then it increment 10, so it becomes 11. And now I need to ask again. I go up and ask, is 11 less or equal to 2? So then this becomes false. I would like you to realize that it's very important for you that this question, even if it's true a couple of times, one day it has to become false. What happens if it does never become false? Keep repeating, keep repeating, keep repeating, and this is an infinite loop. And sometimes, some software, this is their problem. They get caught into some infinite loop. That's why it says it's frozen, or the application is not responding. Well, because it's doing a lot of things and not thinking about it. It has no time to deal with you because it's busy. And this is an interesting thing to look at, because I would like you to try this exercise. Inshallah, we'll program it. Yes?
Okay, so while the expression
It's the same in terms of the syntax and the rule that applies to those braces, but it works differently because with the if, this is an if, I don't go up. If this was if, I get inside and then I get out, I get down. Okay, with while there's no else. Yeah, there's no else. Yes.
What if we want to write a program that reads from 1,000 maybe?
Just need to change this to 1,000.
Except mini numbers.
Oh, then you have to put inside of your while an if. If this is a number that is respecting this condition, then display. If this is not respecting the condition, then do not display. Something like that. If you'd like to display from a number from 1 to 10,000 and exclude 5 and 500 and something like that, and 922, you just have to put some questions that will single out those cases and display the rest. So you can say if the number is equal to 5 or 500 or 922, then do nothing, or else display something.
Inside the Boolean expression?
Inside the if, inside the block of the, inside the while, inside here. So here you can put whatever you want. You can have another while inside, you can have an if else inside, you can have a lot of things. You can declare variables and so on. Whatever you can do now. Except that it's going to be repeated. So we ask a question. If this is true, we display an increment. And then we go back and ask the question again. If this is false, we get out. The most important thing is that we're going up to ask the question again. We never just after we finish executing this, we get out like the if, we get out and continue. No, we have to always go and ask the question. So it's very important that when you ask a question, make sure that this question one day is going to become false. If it's always true, this is an infinite loop and it's going to be funny. We're going to test that, inshallah. You're going to see. I'm sure this is not going to show up on your phone because I'm not developing on your phone, but
Maybe you should.
maybe later on. Okay, this is the part that I'll stop here. I just would like you now to, let me just erase all. I just would like you to try this, write down this program and try it, make it work. And we're going to play with this and you're going to see it. We're going to have some fun with this program.